you're actually saying, I have bad genes. My parents are overweight. I'm probably overweight. Like, that's a hard thing to hear. Hey everyone, and welcome back to yet again another episode of the Upgrade My Rituals podcast. My name is Kevin McKellar, your host, as always, and this is the show for people that are looking for that much more productivity in their lives. You may be a solopreneur, some type of business owner. You may be some type of high performer, a professional, whatever it may be that are, looking to execute this close to perfect ideal day. And what we talk about in this podcast and in the show is strategies to do that, mainly revolved around my system called ritual design. And before we get into the show today, which is going to be a very tactical show, just a quick announcement. June 14th, so in a few days from airing of this episode, the Ritual Design Planner is launching, my friends. I'm very, very excited. It is finally launching after many, many months. Actually, it's been just a little over a year from conception to production to launch. Super proud of it. It has the system that I teach baked into it every single day, week. It's a 90-day quarterly planner, and even if you're not looking necessarily to build a whole bunch of routines, it's still a really good planner to actually use to plan your day and your week and your quarter, for that being said. So I'm very excited about it. If you want to get a 30% off founders discount, that's going to be emailed to you guys. Just sign up with the link below, and you'll get reminded, obviously, for launch day next Monday, June 14th. Yeah. Okay. Super excited. Now, what we're going to talk about today is a very tactical technique that I teach within my Royal Ritual program, which is my course and coaching program. And this is not something anything new. This is not something that is custom to me or anything, or proprietary to me. This is a little bit of a modified take on something that many productivity and personal development people teach. And what I call it is the belief wheel. And we're going to talk about what the belief wheel is, and then we're going to talk about how this applies for your ritual design and, different ways we can think about leveraging it. So what is the belief wheel? Well, what it is it's a way of thinking and a way of processing your beliefs to therefore be able to move forward with your goals and your aspirations. And it works like this. The way I look at it, to simplify it a little bit, there's 3 sections of this. And how this works is we start with our beliefs, right? The stories that we tell ourselves, the things that we hold, kind of in our hearts a little bit that, we tell ourselves, right? And we're going to talk about 2 examples here. We're going to start with the negative example, right? So I'm going to give you an example of weight loss. Weight loss is a common example that I use often. And let's say we want to lose 30 pounds or something, or just lose some weight in general, right? So there is definitely something stuck in my eye. So we want to lose 30 pounds, and we want to move our health in the right way. And if we have this belief that says, it could be a million different things. It says, well, I'm big boned. I think we've moved past that, but I'm big boned. I'm always fat. I always will be fat. There's really not much I can do about it. My whole family is overweight. I have bad genetics. That's a really powerful one, right? And what happens then? Well, what happens is that we have this negative belief. And then when we look at the wheel, we move around to the next section, which is the actions, right? And the actions are determined, what we take or we don't take, are determined from our beliefs. So on this negative example, if we say to ourselves, I have bad genetics, I'm overweight, my family's overweight, I'll never lose weight, how much action do you think you're going to take? How much exercise are you going to implement? How much diet are you going to, how serious are you going to be with diet? What do you really think? clearly we already know that answer. Very, very little, right? We're not really going to move in the right direction because we have this belief that says, what was the point, right? So then we take very little action and we do really nothing about it. And then what happens? Well, we keep going around this wheel and we get to the last stop, which is the results. So with a really poor belief system, which creates a really little to no action plan, what do you think that actually creates in our results? Nothing, right? We get zero results. We stay the same weight. Maybe we even gain weight, whatever it may be. Now, here's the kicker. When we go through this wheel, right? I'm always fat. I always will be fat. I have bad genetics. Clearly, we do nothing about that because there's nothing we can do about that, right? And then we get really crappy results or no results. So then we keep going around this wheel. And then what does that poor result process or these poor results actually do to our beliefs? Well, they enhance them and they solidify them and encourage them, right? It's, see, I told you I'm fat. I always will be fat. I have bad genetics. My family's overweight. That's it. That is a really, really bad negative example of this belief wheel. Beliefs, actions, results. So now let's use a positive example. So let's take the same exact content here about losing weight and let's change it, right? Our belief is, if I really am diligent and I really plan things out and I'm consistent with my exercise and diet routines, I promise there's nothing else. I have to lose the weight. There's no reason I can't, right? With that powerful belief, we go around the wheel. How much action do you think you're going to take when you have a really positive, powerful belief like that? A ton of action, right? Because you know it's possible. All you have to do is be consistent. That's a tricky one, right? Be consistent. We have to have an exercise workout plan in place. We may have to hire a trainer. We have to have a diet plan. We have to meal prep. We have to get good sleep. But we have all that. And if I just do all that, I have that plan, I know it's going to happen. So we have this great belief. We come to the actions. Well, then we're going to implement all that stuff, right? And then, of course, we keep going around the wheel and we get to our results. What happens? Well, you actually lose some weight. You actually lose some weight. You actually, gain some muscle. You actually make some improvement. And then, obviously with weight loss, that's a really long journey or health and fitness, whatever it may be. It's a lifestyle change. So slowly over time, what happens to that process, right? We see the result and then we keep going around the wheel. And what does that do to our belief? It enhances, it encourages, and emphasizes those beliefs patterns. See, I told myself I can do this. I'm going to keep going. This is great. Boom, boom, boom. And that influences the next set of actions, even better and better results. So negative or positive, you might have heard, like I said, sometimes there's other steps to this. I think it's easier when there's only 3 steps to this. It's a little bit easier of a wheel to understand. And why is this important? Well, here's the thing, is that we all know what we need to do in our lives. We all know the tactical things that we need to do. I need to make more money, so I need to get a better job. The way I need to get a better job is I need to retool, maybe go back to school, but I need to change careers, right? I can't do this career anymore. It's not working for me. And what do I need to do to change careers? Well, I need to either go back to college or I have to, get these skills and somehow get an interview. We know what we have to do, right? But the problem happens when we don't do it. And when we are sitting there and saying, what is going on? Why can I not have, let's say, a relationship? Why can I not find somebody and have something that clicks and right? Or why can't I, ever really learn the guitar the way I wanted to, right? I start playing, I start practicing, and then I kind of I don't know, I just get busy, right? That's not it. The problem is that we're not clear on the belief wheel, right? We're not clear about what our initial subconscious beliefs are. And that's when we can uncover that. It's a very simple framework, but that's what ultimately kind of helps us push us forward in these areas in our lives, these categories of our lives that we want to ultimately improve. For instance, guitar, right? The guitar is a tricky one because if you're not a musician and you just want to learn how to play guitar a little bit, it's tricky because every time we know what we have to do, we have to practice for years. That's it. You have to practice every single night for years, and then eventually you'll get kind of good, right? But what happens? Well, Monday night rolls around, we go, okay, I'm going to practice for a half hour. Pick up the guitar and you play your one or two songs that you know. You feel good? Yeah, okay, great. And then you want to try to like learn a new chord or learn a new scale or whatever it is. And it's really hard. So we kind of just, I don't know, fool around a little bit, maybe play a song again we know. And I don't know. I'm just, you know what? Let me just log on to Facebook real quick and see what's going on. Or let me just, go down a YouTube rabbit hole, and then we don't practice, right? So maybe kind of the same thing happens Tuesday, maybe Wednesday a little bit better, but then Thursday we fall off, and then the weekend comes, and then we're busy, whatever it is, and then a month goes by, and we haven't touched the guitar. So again, it's not anything that we're tactically, we don't have the answers for. We all have the answers for what we need to do, but again, it's that belief. So when you're playing that, then you get, into that bad that hard spot when you're practicing, whether it's a scale or whether it's a new song or a new chord, and you're saying, and that tension there, that's where you have to dig in, because that's the beginning of this belief wheel, right? That's the actual belief that you have. You're having a conversation with yourself and you're saying, I'm never going to be a really good guitar player. This is stupid. I don't know, right? I don't know. I can't ever be like, my buddy Frank, he's so good, whatever. It's that conversation you're having. So the belief wheel is just a framework for you to uncover the conversation you have with yourself, whether it's negative or whether it's positive. Now, for instance, that example, all we have to do is switch to a positive conversation, which then, of course, changes our belief patterns, right? So if you say to yourself, listen, man, now is not the time to think about whether or not I'm going to be a good guitar player next week or tomorrow or next month. Now is the time just to practice. I'm just putting the reps in, right? I'm just doing the work. So I'm just going to do it. And I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow. I'm going to do the same thing Wednesday. And I'm not going to think. Sometimes not thinking is the best way to do it, right? The reason this example holds so true to my heart is because I was a musician for, I don't know, a million years before this. Like, I'm 33. I mean, I'm still technically a musician. And I play the euphonium, which is basically a European tuba, if you will. And I went through the process, and I, went and studied at the Royal Liège Conservatory in Belgium. And I even got to the point where I got accepted into a doctoral program. And that's when I made the shift into, entrepreneurship, because I knew that being a musician wasn't my path anymore. I knew that the risk of trying to make money full-time as a classical musician is just wasn't for me at that point. So, but what did I do for the entire life? I learned how to practice, right? Anytime my mind got in the way, I just really shut it off. I didn't have any type of positive necessary beliefs. I just put in the reps, right, for years. So, anyway, that's kind of the really unpacking of the belief wheel. Now, when you're putting it into a system like ritual design, right, there's many other examples that you can do besides, or we could talk about besides learning the guitar, right, or weight loss, whatever it may be. Maybe it's when you meditate in your morning routine. Maybe it's when you do a daily affirmation, right? Because okay, this is not working, so I have to implement a positive daily affirmation, something I tell myself, and I look in the mirror every morning, and I craft a really positive mantra for myself. There's a million different things that you can do to ultimately affect your belief patterns, and I'm talking about all encompassing. I'm not talking about necessarily one specific thing, but when we start feeding our brain the things that we want to feel on a daily basis, it's kind of like a fake it till you make it. Our brains are very powerful tools and agents, but they're also very kind of dumb. Like, you can really trick them into believing what you want, right? And that's a really interesting conversation. So again, this may be just things that you implement inside your daily your ritual design, whether it's, like I said, a mantra in the morning, meditation at night, maybe it's a breathing exercise, whatever you do. That's totally up to you, but it's not necessarily specific revolved around the activity that you want to achieve and take better action and get better results in. I think it's a better idea to look at your life in a holistic 30,000-foot view, start implementing positive belief systems and patterns and messaging, right? And then training your brain so the next time that specific thing rolls around, you'll be able to start listening to yourself a little bit better. Listening to the conversation you're having with yourself, right? Listening to the fact that you're actually saying, I have bad genes, my parents are overweight, I'm probably overweight. Like, that's a hard thing to hear. But when you train yourself to listen over time, you'll get there. That is the exact one of the reasons why ritual design is so important, because it's the things that 99% of the people in the world don't ever work on. We're not taught how to work on these things, right? It's just, you just go through life, graduate school, get a job, get married, have kids, and die, right? So with that being said, I hope today was a helpful episode for you. I hope you were able to, if you have never heard of the belief wheel before, I hope this opened you up to the way maybe your mind works, and the ways that we can kind of leverage ritual design. Maybe we can think about ways we can start reprogramming our brain to intercept that belief pattern when we need to, right? And if you have heard of this before, I'm curious if you've ever thought about it in a actual cognitive fashion, or if it's just something that kind of sits there in the back of your head, and that's something that exists, right? Maybe you've used a little bit of a different version in the past, but I'm curious. So, leave a comment. That would be great. I would love to open the discussion. And if you like the show, please leave a review. That would be very, very helpful. If you really liked it, share it with a friend. And of course, subscribe so you get notified of the next episode. And with that being said, thank you once again. I will see you next week on the Upgrade My Rituals podcast.